It's not like any other podcast. Coming to you straight from Eastern Iowa, where apartment ownership and investing is told like it is. It's time for Darren Garman's Apartment Specialist Podcast. Hold on, because here comes the next episode of the Apartment Specialist Podcast.
So let me tell you what really is going on here. Your decision-making process in whether you think you want to buy something or not, whether you want to analyze something or not, or finally pull the trigger on a multifamily property, really gets down to your capacity, not as someone that isn't doing a good or not good enough job at reviewing and analyzing properties. It's really coming down to you being a leader and a strong, opinionated leader of your investment decisions. In other words, being a man about it. You're not pulling the trigger because you're not man enough to pull the trigger. That's really what it's coming down to. And yeah, I'm calling you out on this. I'm calling you out because I've heard you talk about this now on 2 occasions, and it's really coming down to your capacity as a man to make a decision and have the balls to move forward, pull the trigger, and just fucking do it. That's really what it's coming down to for you. And here's the deal. I'm not necessarily picking on you, but I think I'm accurate, because this is where most men live. This is where most men live. So most men are walking around in a fog every damn day. They're walking around, they're being told what to do, they're being told how to do it, and for most of them, that's what they want, because it's one more decision, it's one more thing they don't have to worry about. One more thing they don't have to be concerned about. So what do? They abdicate their capacity as a man to be a leader in investing, which is what we're talking about, being a leader as a man to their family, to their wife, to their significant other, to their kids, being a leader of their company, their employees, being a leader in their neighborhood, being a leader on an opinion or something they feel strongly about. No, 95% of men won't do that because they have been taught to be watered down, not have an opinion, okay, not create any waves, and they'd rather be liked, be quiet, be told what to do and how to do it, than be a leader and possibly be called out on something, possibly create any waves or any friction. Because if society has really done anything, especially over the last 5 years, it has done a job of silencing men to where they are pretty much neutered, walking around zombies, pretty much. So if you think of, let's just say, men that you would consider to be weak that you know of, okay, that you, in your mind, in those people watching or listening, you know, men that you would consider to be weak right now, in your mind. And by the way, this isn't political. I'm not talking like political leaders here. I'm just talking men in your life, okay? They have become watered down and neutered as men. And what society is doing is doubling down on that and making men weaker and weaker and weaker. So at the end of the day, like I said, you don't want to have an opinion. You don't want to get involved. You don't want to stand up for something. You don't want conflict. You don't want any kind of confrontation because you're afraid of what people are going to think of you. Will they like me or not? Well, if there's a chance that they won't like me, if there's a chance that I'm going to be called out on this, is there a chance I may as well just shut my mouth and not even worry about it. Plus, it's one more decision I don't have to make. So I challenge you, and I challenge men watching this and listening to this. And by the way, same goes for women too. It's the same thing. Are you really showing up as the best version of yourself as a man and or a decision maker every damn day in your life or not? Or are you being subjected to the neutering of you as a man? What is it? What is it going to be for you? Because, like I said, your capacity of where you are with this is exactly where you need to be and where you are because of your lack of stepping up as a man. That's really what it's about. You've got the financial capabilities to make the decision. You've got the skills financially, mentally to make the decision to pull the trigger. You've got all of those things going, but what you don't have is the guts to pull the trigger. Why? Because you're not man enough to pull the trigger. Why? Because you are one of the 95% that's afraid of being a man stepping up and leading. In this case, leading your investment group. Okay? What will they think? What if I make a mistake? I mean, that's what it's happening. And again, I'm not necessarily picking on you. It's the case with 95% of men out there. That's the case. And so when you wonder about why the world is as it is, why are things the way they are today, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, this is a big reason why. This is a big reason why. Because what society wants you to do is stay down here, keep your mouth shut as a man and as a leader, and just pretty much do what we say and what we think you should do. Go along with the popular thinking, with the popular decision, and that's the direction you should go. And you should just be happy with your lot in life. Shut your mouth and just exist and, stream your Netflix all week. Have a few beers a few times a week, and just keep your mouth shut. Okay. Well, if you want to achieve any kind of significance, whether it's financial, whether it's personal, you've got some things you want to go, you got some places you want to go, whether it's mentally you want to do that, you've got no choice but to become a leader and become a real man with all of this. Instead, most men's balls are shrinking like down to the size of this. That's what's going on. And you've got to go in the exact opposite direction. That's just reality. Otherwise, we're going to be having the same conversation 1 year from now, 3 years from now, and you're going to be actually at a lower level now than where you are today. That's what's going on in our society. So you go back, let's just say you go back 10 years. There are things you could do or say as a man 10 years ago that if you were even thinking of doing or saying things like that today, you're pretty much screwed. You're going to be, crucified on whatever social media platform is out there. And I'm not talking anything that's bad politically either. I'm just talking about just being a man. Well, you got to be a man about it. And you've got to take positions. You've got to do things that are against the grain, that are not among the popular decisions, the popular opinions, and you've got to have the balls to move forward and just pull the trigger. And most people won't. Most people will think about it. Most people will read about it. Most people will listen about it. Most people will study. But most people will not step up as a leader, especially men, and do what's fucking required to do it. They won't do it. It's just not going to happen. So they're happy being in that 95% of just existing and being told what to do, how to do it. Maybe it's by society. Maybe it's by maybe it's by spouse, significant other, just stay down here, do what we tell you to do, don't make any waves, we don't want to take any chances, and live because it's more comfortable that way. But yet, if you'd ask most men living in that right now, they're more frustrated than ever. There's a reason why 70+% of people, especially men, hate what they're doing. There's a reason for that. And the main reason is because they're not using their gifts as men and leaders and having the balls to do what they really, really think they should be doing or want to do. And that's not, I say 70%, it's more than that. That's the reason. Here's the other little interesting statistic for you. Men are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than women are. Why is that? Why is that? Well, one of the main reasons is what we're talking about right now. They don't have the capacity to lead as a man really needs to lead in whatever area or areas of their life. They can't get through it. They can't push through it. They can't get past it. So what do? They sedate. They do a bunch of other things. And pretty soon, they decide that the best way out is to get out. And it's sad. It's really sad. So, look, this is not the answer that you really thought you were going to get. But this is the answer you really, really needed. Okay? And that answer is your goal right now is not really to think so much about whether you should buy this apartment property or not. It's really about how can you really evolve as a leader, as a man and a leader who has the mental capacity, the physical capacity to pull the trigger and make something frickin' happen. Okay? That's like the most important part of this for you. Once you've got that figured out, and for those of you watching and listening to this, this applies to a lot of you. Once you've got that figured out, now you're in a position of strength. You're in a position where things become a little bit more clear to you, and you can start making those decisions without having all these reservations and things and conversations in your mind about it. That's what it's going to take. And until you go down that road, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be mad, you're going to be wondering why you still are where you're at. That's the first step. Not apartments, not multifamily and making the move. That's your first step. And I tell you, you're definitely not the only one that I've talked to that has this. A lot of guys do. Women are in the same boat in terms of this as well when they're looking at expansion. And, a lot of people think it's my financial situation that's in the way. It's my lack of connections that's in the way. It's my marketplace that's in the way. It's lack of property that's in the way. No, dude, that's not in the way. It's what I just talked about. As being a man, being a leader, and having the capacity to push through all of that crap, exist above the 95%. So you've got the capacity to make those kind of decisions and really be the man, be the person, be the leader that you really, really know you could be, and push past all of the pressure, all of the weight on you to be a neutered, neutral person. Okay? Now, if you want to be a neutered, neutral person and that's what you like and you want to continue, fine. I don't have a problem with that. But you can't be that and then complain about the stuff that we're talking about. You got to get to that capacity. And until you do, we're just wasting time. Wasting time.
Thanks for joining the Apartment Specialist Podcast. For investment questions, comments, or to get in touch with Darren, go to www.heartlandinvestmentrealestate.com.